Tip number 1 to sing higher effortlessly is to create space in the mouth. How do you create space in the mouth? You lift your soft palate, and that's why you are taught to do sirens or yawns so that your mouth can open and it stays lifted. If you are lifting your soft palate, air can come through and it's easier to sing your higher notes. Number 2 is breath support with your breathing. You really want to learn how to manage your air coming in and coming out. If you push too much air out, you're going to push your vocal cords apart, and then what happens is no sound is going to be created because vibration can't happen. You want resistance from your vocal cords when air is going through. That's what breath support means. So when you are breathing in and out, you really gotta manage the amount of air that's coming into your lungs, because if you have too much air in your lungs, your body is going to want to push it all out. So only take in the amount of air you need for the phrase you are singing for. And when you are singing out, you don't want to push too much, just enough to make the sound. Now, the issue that happens when I say don't push too much air out is that someone might take that advice and not push strong air out. Although you don't want to push a lot of air out all at once to sing that high note, you want your stream of air to not only be small, but very strong. But that gets into the idea of compression, and we can talk about that another day. But the whole point of breath support is so that you don't push your vocal cords apart when you are attempting a higher note. Now, I think the reason why people push to get to the higher note is because your vocal cords are actually getting thinner and taller because it's lengthening as you go into higher pitches. So you feel like you have to push to get more sound out, but it doesn't really help you, and it kind of hurts your vocal cords in the long run. So a healthier approach to that is to manage your breath support, creating space in the mouth, and I'm going to talk to you about how to create more power without actually pushing more air out. Tip number 3 is resonance. Training yourself to sing with more resonance is how you create a balanced head voice sound, which is where your higher notes are. Now, resonance is how sound is bouncing off the walls of your mouth and your nose. The mouth is sometimes called the oral cavity, and the nose is sometimes called the nasal cavity. You might have heard that when you talk to a vocal coach, but instead of pushing more air out to sound powerful, you want to learn how to bounce your sound off the walls of your cavities to create a loud sound. And that's what a lot of musical theater singers do when they are on stage. They want to project their sound out, but because there's so many shows you have to do, you can't push your voice every single night or you will lose it. So the best way to sing higher notes with more power for longer is focusing and learning how to create resonance. In order for me to create space, support, and resonance when I'm trying to reach higher notes, I think of opposition. Now, I've talked about this idea in my other video focusing on singing higher notes, and this is something that I've learned from my first vocal coach, and it's such a useful thing to do when you are practicing reaching higher notes, because sometimes when you are not a naturally high singer like me, I am mostly an alto singer, reaching higher notes can be very challenging. And I don't want you to tense up your body just to reach the notes, because you can lose your voice, you can rip something that you don't want to be ripped, and it's going to sound so much better if you implement this idea. So anytime you're going up, you want to think down. Anytime you go down, you want to think up. It creates this nice balance in your body alignment, and it keeps your core engaged correctly as well. Not only does it create balance, it actually naturally drops your jaw to create that space in the mouth that we talked about, and you're gonna feel so much more relaxed with less effort, and you're gonna reach your notes so much better. So we are going to do a song example so that we can try out this idea with me, and the song that we are going to do is Let It Go from Frozen. I'm only going to do a few parts in the song that I think are high, and then you and I are going to try to sing those higher notes with the idea of opposition in mind. We're still gonna think about creating space in the mouth, and we're still going to think about support at all times, but I really want you to learn how to reach these higher notes a lot easier without relying on squeezing your body or tightening up your shoulders just to reach it. Before we get into the song, I need to explain to you how to create this opposition when you are singing. all you're gonna do is do a plie anytime you go up to a high note. A plie in ballet means to bend. So I want you to bend your knees and you're gonna try to just bend straight down to the ground. Not all the way down to the ground, just enough to create that opposition. And when you bend your knees, make sure they are kind of going outwards in a diagonal way. You don't want your knees to be facing this way, because I think what tends to happen if your toes are facing forward and you're bending forward is the booty gets jutted out and you start to lean forward. So that's why I like to think of the plie or the bend in more of a first position. So this is what it looks like when I am bending. I'm just going straight down and then straight back up, like as if there's a string on top of my head pulling me back up. And when I go back down, I'm just going straight down to the ground. I'm not bending over or leaning over at all, keeping my whole body balanced and aligned. So that's the key to creating this opposition, all right? So the part of the song that I want to start with is in the chorus where she goes, I don't care. Now, the reason why I chose that part is because it's really high. It's starting at an E flat 5. You're not leading up to it or anything. You're gonna have to start right on that pitch. And it's starting on a vowel. There is no consonant to help you with your chord closure. You just have to create that chord closure for that resistance when air is going through right away. First thing I want to point out with the vowel I, try really hard not to create a diphthong like this. I, like that, one syllable on that one pitch. So keep your mouth open on that pitch instead of I. Yeah, because that's going to restrict your airflow. It's going to tense up your neck naturally. Now in the sheet music, it does change notes in between that vowel, but you don't want to change your vowel placement. Keep the same, keep your mouth open, and just change the pitch. I don't care. Right? Rather than going, I don't care. It's a little too crunchy and it's hard to sing with more ease if you go I. Just keep I don't care. Now you're gonna try singing just that part with me. The first time we're gonna do it, we're not going to create any opposition. We're not gonna bend the knee or anything. You're still gonna stand up nice and tall and just try to sing the high note with me, okay? So this is the pitch. All right, here we go. I don't care. All right, how did you do without any opposition and keeping your body just straight? Now this time, try to do the opposition idea. You're gonna bend right away on that top note, and then when you go back down in pitch, I want you to stretch your body up into your normal standing position. Everything has to be balanced when you are singing. Anytime you go up, think down. Anytime you go down, think up. All right, here's your starting note. Here you go, with the bend. I don't care. One more time. I don't care. Third time. I don't care. How did you do? What did you notice? Was there a difference when you were singing without the bend and when you were singing with the bend? Hopefully there is a difference. For me, I felt like there was more ease when I reached the notes. I didn't have to think too hard about the vowel. It sounded a little bit more rounded, more balanced, versus the time where I didn't add any opposition to my singing. I felt strained and my jaw felt a little bit locked already. Moving on to the next part of the song where I think there is also a high note that we want to focus on is in the bridge area where she goes, the past is in the past. That's what I want to focus on, because not only do I want you to reach higher notes, but let's try to sustain higher notes. So the words you're going to sing are the past is in the past, and the notes are remember, space in the mouth, support from the diaphragm, and then resonance. And we can create all three by doing the idea of opposition. You're gonna bend down on that high note, and anytime you go back down, you stretch back up to normal standing position. Now, we're gonna do it without the plie, without the opposition first to see how it feels like just standing there and singing. And then the second time, we are going to do it with the plie. And if you wanna know, this goes as high as a D flat 5. Here's your starting note. The past is in the past. Great. Now let's do that same phrase with a plie on that high note. All right, here we go. The past is in the past. How did you do? Did you notice a difference? If you notice a difference, let me know in the comments. All right, let's do this 2 more times with the plie. Here we go. The past is in the past. And again, the past is in the past. So notice how I'm not going, the past is in the past. That is me pushing too much air out. When too much air escapes your vocal cords, it actually dries it out, and it's not good because the rubbing on dry vocal cords is actually very, very dangerous, and it can cause some tear. And that is why I really stress on not breathing out too much just to make the sound. The next part that I want to focus on in this song is the ending. Let the storm rage on. The reason why I want to focus on that part is there's a big jump from a low note to that last note right there. That big jump can really mess you up. This is how big the jump is. Let's just listen to the note. That's the last note there, okay? So you're going from an A flat 4 to an E flat 5. That's quite a jump. So you really want to plie on that top note. Don't plie on this note yet. Plie on this note. We're gonna do the same thing. First time we're gonna do it, no plie, but you still wanna stand up nice and tall and still try to reach the note. And then the second time we do it, we're gonna do it with a plie. Starting note. Here we go. Let the storm rage on. I forgot to tell you, it's about 8 counts for the ending note. Now let's do it with a plie. Ready? Here we go. Let the storm rage on. How did you do that time? I gotta make sure I count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's try it again with the plie. Here we go. Let the storm rage on. Let's do it one more time with the plie. Really open the mouth, keep everything up nice and tall, like as if something is pulling the crown of your head up. Alrighty? Here's your starting notes. Here we go. Let the storm rage on. Great, how did you do? All right, if I were to push too much air out, this is what it would sound like. Let the storm rage on. I already ran out of air right away. It doesn't sound strong, and I feel like I'm more out of tune when I push too much air out, right? So now let's try to create more of a balanced resonance. That's what you want when you are trying to reach that high note with more power. Let the storm rage on. So essentially, I am mixing a little bit of my chest voice with my head voice. That gets into the mixing technique that I didn't talk about in this video, but that does help with having a more balanced resonance. Quick recap on how to sing higher notes effortlessly: create space in the mouth, support with your breathing, and resonance. I hope this video helped you understand a little bit more on how to create space in your mouth, support from your breathing, and resonance so that you sing more effortlessly and reach higher notes that you can't before. The whole point of doing the opposition idea is so that you are less tense, you don't strain your throats, and you can sing more songs without losing your voice. So if you want to watch something similar to this video, make sure you check this one out where I give you tips on how to sing higher notes with more ease. But thanks for watching. That's all for now, and I'll see you next time.